Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Ribbon Candy Hooking. I'm Deanna. Great to see you. I'm a little bit late. Sorry about that. You can see there's a lot going on here. Is it possible? Is it possible that I've gone too far this time? I feel like a wet dog, like a husky. Just very hairy and furry today, and otherwise very not put together. Not put together. Merry Christmas. It's right on the threshold, and I don't think I'm going to be live tomorrow. So I will be checking in with you over the course of the next couple days. If you're celebrating, happy, 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 Merry Christmas. And I'm going to be around, like I said, doing live videos here and there in the next couple days, but I'm not going to do a show tomorrow because it's already too crazy with Teddy's birthday party and everything happening all at once. So I am super happy to be here today, and I have got a great show for you, reviewing a great new book that just came out. Need more coffee? Need coffee. It's a small group today. Everybody's running wild, I think. Kirsten, good to see you. Happy Christmas Eve in Vermont. Absolutely. I'm so unhappy with the way it's falling this year. I mean, the rest of the year was great because I think we had Halloween on a weekend, which was great. We've been lucky with birthdays this year, having weekend birthdays, that kind of thing. That's nice. But having Christmas fall like on the weekend has made it tough because the kids are in school right up to the day before Christmas Eve, which I think is cruel. I think that's cruel because they are not thinking about anything other than Santa. So yeah, it's a weird year, isn't it, for so many reasons. But I am so glad you're there, and I have got a great show. I have so much to tell you. We're going to be so busy in the new year with our rugging, I'm going to say rugging from now on, because all kinds of rug making. I have been going down the rabbit hole in a huge way with this book project. I was working on Latch again last night. I thought I was done, but I locked into a couple of blogs that I had never seen before. British blog, I don't know what you call someone who bloggers. So I'm going to post that on our Facebook group, which is Rug Cooking and Punch Needle Club, and such interesting bits of history. I didn't realize that, for example, Latch went all the way back to the mid-19th century, using a needle then, but seeing early patents for things that would become the toggle latch, right? And that would continue to confuse us to this day about what kind of a hook is hooking rug. Is it a latch hook or is it a rug hook? We won't do that today. We've got too many other things to do, but there are so many things in the new year that I want to look at. So many forms of rug making, including, I don't know if you can see, I've been working on my penny rug back there behind me. And I forgot to say yesterday during the show, one of the important things that's new on the Ribbon Candy Hooking site, right, the shop site, are the pennies. So Erin, who's been working with me, I dropped off a ton of wool and wool felt, right? Both, all different kinds of wool, plaids, herringbones, checks, plain, mottled, everything, and then a ton of felt. And she's cutting pennies in 3 sizes according to the Sissix tray, right? And she figured out that these bags of pennies she's doing are about 300 pennies per bag. So that's quite a lot of pennies. This is under 100 pennies for a piece. This is twice as big. I'm not going to lift it because I really shouldn't show all of it anyway because it's for a different project, the book project. But that's stacking 3, and I'm still at about 90 with this piece. So it's a lot of pennies. So that's available on the Ribbon Candy Hooking site. And I will be right after the holidays, unless I get time sooner, doing a short video on sewing the pennies, right? For those of you who want to see buttonhole really slow, I'll put it on slow-mo, and some of the other simple stitches that I'm doing, French knot, very simple stitches. But if you're not used to sewing anything, it's good to know 2 or 3 stitches to be able to put very simple penny rugs together. So those are also available besides the classes that are up there and all of the upcoming things that we've been talking about that you'll find on the sort of header page of Ribbon Candy Hooking. So, oh, Mom, you're on too. I just left you a bunch of crazy messages in a row, panicked messages. Good to see you. It was so miserable and rainy this morning, and now it is sunny and warm and beautiful. Really nice weather. But we do have a forecast of snow. Remember yesterday I said I don't think there's anything in the forecast for snow, and there is. It's I think Saturday, or maybe it's Friday. I think it's Friday. I think it's New Year's Eve, please, Christmas Eve day, that there's a possibility of snow now. It depends on where the temps go, right? What we're going to get. But I would certainly prefer a little bit of snow to a little bit of rain while we're all running around doing our last minute Christmas shopping. Did you see, if you are on Facebook, did you see the funniest meme of the year came right at the end of the year for my sense of humor anyway. Somebody posted this meme that said, there was no picture, I don't think. It just said, when you're out doing your Christmas shopping this weekend, take it easy and be nice to the people who serve you in the stores, because it is not their fault that you waited for Mary's water to break to start your Christmas shopping. Did you see that? It was so funny. I've never seen that before. It's really smart. Robin, great to see you in Wisconsin. How are you? I love the picture of your pup on the sofa. I just liked that on Facebook. Doreen, good to see you. Beverly, good to see you. All my buddies are here. Pacific Northwest, gray sky. The sun might be coming your way. We had the same thing, and then it all lifted. Martha, I have missed you. I have missed you, and I have not forgotten about our buttons. Not at all. I have my tail between my legs because I'm late with important book stuff, and I've got to keep pumping that stuff out. And it's a pleasure to do it, but I am really struggling. That is my first project of the new year. It's going to be so nice to get to that. Linda, I just sent you a message too on one of your posts, the Trader Joe's post. Good to see you. Thanks, Kirsten. I don't know. I ordered it on Facebook Marketplace. It's just, it's plain red, but it has this kind of action going on. I feel like it once might have had shoulder pads. Do you remember this show, Remington Steele? And do you remember the main female character, Stephanie Zimbalist? I feel like this is something that she wore at one point or another. Not this exact one, but something exactly like this. And it's super comfortable too, I have to say. It's quite good. You never know what you're going to find on that Facebook Marketplace. And if it's local sellers, you can sometimes just go pick it up. It's fun. It's fun and it's nice. Crystal, great to see you. The excitement is palpable in your house. Oh, I bet. It is so nice having little ones at Christmas time. They get so wound up. Joy, great to see you. Joy, I was just rereading a card that you'd written me before. I found it in my storage, like not storage space, but I have like a place where I keep all my boxes and supplies in a guest room. And I was going through that looking for some equipment and stuff, and I had your card there, and I read it again, and it was so nice. So nice. Thank you. Please thumbs up for these great videos. I am going to get on with it in a second. Jennifer, great to see you. Happy solstice. And we are indeed on the upswing now. We have had the shortest day, and we are done with that. And we are now on the upswing. And that's a good feeling, isn't it? There's a great mystery that was written called The Shortest Day. I think it was Jane Langton or something, right? She always wrote transcendental mysteries right outside of Boston. Kind of a cozy, her and her husband. Anyway. Very good mystery, The Shortest Day. But yes, we are on the upswing. Debbie, great to see you. Thank you so much. Wet dog day. Oh, Debbie and Martha, everybody's saying Merry Christmas to each other. Cynthia, great to see you. I think I just sent you some stuff yesterday. I think 2 things. Heather, great to see you. I hope that you posted your rug. And it reminded me that the rug that I was given, Becky sent me a rug, and I don't know that I posted it in the Facebook group because I showed it here, and I'm not thinking, being such, I guess, an egocentric maniac, that not everybody watches Coffee Time. So I really need to post it in the page too. And Heather, I hope you posted yours in the page because we haven't seen yours yet, the one that you made. So I would love to see that. Jill, good to see you. Hello in Virginia. Twisting fringe on a woven blanket Christmas present. Oh, you're going to get there. Can't wait to get back to punching. That's the thing, isn't it? When you're making a few gifts this time of year, you get away from your projects, your overarching projects, and you get busy with timely things, and it can be a bit of a stressor. Karen, great to see you. Merry Christmas to you too. Pat, great to see you. I'm a bit excited. Looking very glam. That's one word for it, right? Thanks, Mom. I'm sure you'll see this again. I just got it, so I'm sure you'll see it again. It came a few weeks ago, and I was thinking, gosh, I hope I have time to wear it because I kind of forgot about it. Dave, great to see you. I remember the sweater from the 80s. I believe it. I feel like I do too. I mean, I feel like I remember this exact one with all this beading. It's like all pepperminty sort of beading, and yeah, it's good. It's good. Joy, thank you so much. So, all right, so we looked at the pennies. You know that the pennies are there. All that is happening. One other thing I wanted to tell you about, I'm going to review this probably right after Christmas, but I don't know if any of you have this machine, and I've never done a video with it, but have you seen this before, the Simplicity Rotary Cutting Machine? Now, the thing about this machine, it's not going to be for people who like fine cuts. It's a foot pedal like a sewing machine, but it has rotary blades in it, right? And it cuts as a rotary cutter does with the foot pedal. So you're not doing a lot of this, which can save you a lot of grief if you have anything with your hands and wrists, right? I will review this. I will use this machine and review it as soon as I can, right? It probably won't be before Christmas, but as soon as I can. The thing about this machine is the narrowest cut that it can do is 3/8 of an inch. So that's bigger than a number 8 strip, right? So this will be great for people who, for example, love primitive, folky, very sort of naive type wide cut, right? You're not going to get detail unless you're working on an epic scale. You're going to get very, very thick strips from this, but they are the kind of strips that you'll be able to use. If, for example, you still use burlap, you're making wall pieces and you use burlap, you can use those thicker strips. And this machine can cut them a lot faster for you. So we'll look at this as soon as I possibly can. I had that in a box and I kept forgetting to show it to you. Now it's like the 11th hour, right before Christmas. And this is more important today because this book just came out. And if you pre-ordered it on Amazon, this is a Schiffer book, right? You know how I feel about Schiffer. I love their history books. I love their craft books. I love their antique books. This book just came out. And if you pre-ordered it, it might be that you haven't gotten it yet, but you're about to receive it from Amazon. Otherwise, it just came out. So it's probably not something you would immediately see in stores yet. This is a book called Rug Hooking with Wool Strips by Katie Kriner, Kriner, right? Beautiful book. I'll tell you right now. Oh, what's going on here? Hello. Oh, hey, Catherine. Heather says, I'm going to do a post asking everyone to post theirs. Yep, absolutely. Beverly, maybe good for Proddy. Maybe good for Proddy. Absolutely. Would be good for Proddy too, the cutting machine. Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense because you can also use, just as an example, just putting it out there, you don't have to use the straight blades with this machine. You know the blades that are kind of pie crust? I don't know what they're actually called, like corrugated pie crust that go like this, almost like little pinking shears. You can use those blades too, like the decorative cutting blades. You can use those. So, I mean, wool applique, it's a great thing for wool applique too. There's going to be a lot of uses for it. I think we should brainstorm this and see how that thing works because it can be a lifesaver for people who have problems with cutting a lot of strips, and that's a thing. The expense of getting a machine to cut strips too, that's another thing. So this machine I think is on Amazon for about $90, but you can find them on eBay, Facebook Marketplace, other places, you know, for whatever the person's asking for. They might have gotten it and said, not my thing. You know, I bought it in a moment of insanity. And we all know that story, right? So it could be that, you know, you could find one. I've seen them on Facebook Marketplace near me for like 20, 40, you know, whatever. So, and if you need to replace the blade, hey, that's not that much, right? That's something you can get quite inexpensively. So, you know, it's a simplicity machine and it should plug in and work. The machine part of it should be good and stable, just a question of replacing blades, and that's not much of a thing. So this could be an interesting prospect for a lot of people who like Proddy and who like to hook wide primitive, right? So this could really be an exciting breakthrough kind of thing. Ruffles, thank you, Jill. Ruffles have ridges, remember? So Katie Kriner, let me start with her bio. This book is so good. This book is so good. This is for people who love contemporary rug hooking, right? Not super traditional patterns, contemporary, but super tasteful and still quite primitive. This is going to be your book. This is going to be your favorite book of the year, right? Comes at the end of the year. This is going to be your favorite book for this year, without a doubt. It's got a little holiday. It's got a lot of good taste. This is a really class act book. And she shows a lot of different techniques that we often talk about that are not shown enough. She goes off the balance beam and shows us things that are a little bit different and crossover techniques. Things that I want to talk about as often as we can. You'll see what I mean. Great original ideas in this book. I'm highly recommending this book. So let's do the bio first of Katie Kriner. Took her first rug hooking class over 10 years ago. She started hooking designs by other artists, but soon found that most designs did not fit her style. Through various classes and camps, she developed her skills, designed patterns, color planned, and dyed her own rugs, dyed wool for her own rugs. From there, she found a niche in helping customers and friends do the same with their own rugs. Katie currently owns a shop called the Bee and Bear, B-E-E and the Bear, where she focuses on teaching and selling rug hooking supplies. Most of the pieces she designs and makes are either for the home and personal use or for friends and family. She is a lifelong gardener, and she serves as inspiration for which serves as inspiration for much of her work. Katie lives in southeastern Pennsylvania with her husband and her German Shepherd. And her website is called www.thebear.com. She's super pretty. Super pretty girl. Let's bring her over here so we can picture her while we're looking at her projects. She's real pretty, huh? So yeah, I think we're all going to be Googling the Bee and the Bear. I haven't had time to yet this morning, but I'm looking forward to it. So this book starts off, as all good books do, with an introduction. Talks about, you know, the history of rug hooking. We're not going to do that because we do it a lot. But she's very small, sort of nutshell history of hooking and how to use this book. And then she immediately goes into tools and materials. And she keeps it simple, right? So she talks about rug hooks and she talks about scissors on these chapters, on these pages. Very simple. These are the kinds of scissors that you might get, and you need a rug hook. And she shows you a straight one and she shows you a bent one, but she's keeping it simple, right? As you should. And she's describing what each type of scissor does, right? So you know if you really need it or want it. She talks about wool, dyeing wool, cutting wool, basic stuff, right? Basic and very, very clear. She talks about washing your wool, estimating the amount that you'll need to do your project. She talks about the different backing fabrics, right? The different foundations. She includes primitive linen, bleached linen, and monk's cloth. And she talks about hoops and frames. So these are all, like, in a nutshell, parts of the book, right? So she's not going crazy with this sort of encyclopedic index of every possible thing. She's keeping it really clear and simple. So this is going to be a great book for beginners. It's also going to be a great design book, again, for people who love contemporary and primitive, both. It's going to hit you on both of those levels. And then she talks about kind of secondary equipment, light box, Sharpie, yarn, darner, sewing needle, sewing pins, ruler, staple gun, these kinds of things. Because there are projects in this book where she will refer to one of these tools, right? So she's showing you all of them at the beginning, which is real helpful. Because you'll see, this is the foreshadowing I was doing earlier, saying, you know, there are some projects in this book that really lean on different things, whether it's framing or backing or whatever. She does some really different stuff in here that is super cool. This coffee's working, isn't it? So one of the things, I also love her vignette. She does really striking vignettes. She does a glossary of terms. I have to say, I shouldn't. I always do this to myself. But you see this pretty old hook that she shows here? Let me see if I can get it in focus. I have to say, I was searching on eBay last night, and somebody was selling 2 hooks like that look like they had an old screwdriver top. And I would love to get them, but I have plenty of everything myself. I saw 2 just like that last night, and I thought, oh, those are so good. They have such good patina. They're so tactile, you know. Those are probably still there. And then she goes immediately into getting started, and she talks about drawing your pattern, really, really clear. She's transferring it. She talks about, again, light box, doing the first, that's actually the hook she's using in these pictures, doing the first loops, right? Leaving your tail up and just starting those first few loops, right? Really, really clear. Jennifer says, Katie Kriner will be teaching a class at Sauder next year. Oh, how nice. Jennifer, I meant to also say with the pennies, none of them are super bright. They're all like pretty traditional colors. I didn't have any super, super bright colors that I had to give to Erin right now. So all of them are pretty traditional and what you would expect, I think, from a penny rug. The pinks are bright, but I didn't give her those because I use them for this rug. So they're all kind of subdued and like normal colors. Interesting, because I know Katie also, there was an event at like a B&B or something recently, I want to say in New York State or maybe Long Island. I didn't make it. It was just one of those teaching weekends for me, but it looked like it was a lot of fun, and they were celebrating the book coming out. So I think she's probably making the rounds, as she should, because Schiffer is a great publisher, and they do a lot with promoting the newest craft books, and this is going to be one of their great releases of now. So, she shows you, they're using photographs to illustrate progress that she's making, pulling up the loops, really clear, detailed photographs for the absolute beginner. And, in this first chapter called Getting Started, she will walk you right through the beginning to the end. So the drawing the pattern, transferring the pattern, hooking the pattern, and then even putting like the binding cord, right, the cotton cord around it, and then whipping around the edge, because she actually finishes projects she's working on, something that I am not good at all. She's finishing it, and she's showing you as she goes. So that is super helpful for all those people who have the UFOs, the unfinished objects sitting around, right? It's maybe good. It's a good time of year to get whipping or finishing the edges on them. So she's showing you photo by photo the different ways that you could bind. She's also showing binding with twill, cotton tape, bias tape, whatever you call the cotton tape that you put around the border, and just very simply, effectively, classically, bind the edges that way. I have to say that's still my favorite way. I know it's not great for the floor because it doesn't leave any protection for the edges, but to me, just no edge for me is always my preference. Adding the whip stitch usually adds more color, and I'm typically not at the point where I want to add anything else. I'm usually happy with the design myself. So I tend to most often, if I do ever finish anything, do this technique with the tape and just hiding everything behind. But again, not great if you're putting it on the floor. So lots of different choices. She gets into projects immediately after showing you that one beginning to end run through. And her projects are so charming. I think universally charming and sweet. And here, I guess, is a hat tip to her love of gardening, right? The wellies in the watering can. So simple, so sweet. Great beginner patterns, right? So she walks you through beginning to end, again, tells you exactly the materials that you're going to need to do. For example, the wellies in the watering can. With these, it looks like she's tucked the sides under again. It looks like she's put them on some kind of architectural plaque. Right? Sometimes you find these in even Joann's or Michael's, the craft stores, have these like old tins, that you can do some kind of bling with, whether you're doing your scrapbooking or decorative painting. But she's got some kind of a metal frame that I'm guessing is fairly easy to find, maybe even from a gardening store, right? Looks like some kind of galvanized metal. And just looking at some of her projects, because I don't want to spoil it for you, but I want to give you a feel for what her style is too. Fantastic take. This one is called Bird and Foliage Pillow. Let me show you this pillow. Okay, this could also be a tea cozy. Let me show you it first. This is the pattern, right? It's a real, it's a bit of a contemporary / Penn Dutch looking, very sketchbook quality, traditional, right? I mean, that is really, really nice. Let me show you it further evolved. Right, so you could see that could easily be a cozy as well, even if you just had wool on the other side, if you do things with teapots. Isn't that nice? I mean, that really is such a nice project. She uses very calm, subdued colors. The palette is just gorgeous, really. Yeah, and she, it looks like on the back, oh, this is a different project, the blue flower pillow. Ooh, very simple, right? Stuff like this. I think she's framing up the blue flower in the center with that beautiful wool border. So I'm just reminding you, she does a lot of dyeing, so it follows that she does some over dyeing, because some of the materials she's using look to me like they might be over dyed. Another exciting sort of aspect to it all. Yeah, this one, she has made a pillow out of it. How did she finish that edge? Oh, I think she actually sewed the wool like a window pane on top. I think the backing is under here. I think she hooked up to here, and then she custom cut the wool, and she shows you how in the pictures, so that it fit right over it. So this is like a little pop-up. and right onto, that's a clever way. That really minimizes the amount of crazy sewing and cutting that you have to do, right? Finishing off all kinds of edges. It's just under there. The edge is just under there, under that wool, and it fits perfectly on. Isn't that smart? And she's got her same hook. She's got what looks like a Hartman hook, and then she's got that same old hook here. She must love using that. It's like an old friend when you find the right hook for you, isn't it? And another great project. Another very simple project. Now, this one is interesting. This is called Wool-Based Flower Pillow. I want to look at this together for a minute. Let me show you the finished product. So this is one of these great projects where she has left the backing showing, right? She has hooked directly onto wool. Now, and I love this kind of primitive flower. It's a simple bouquet. I love the round sort of plot of grass. I love everything about this design. Again, the beautiful, calming, traditional colors. The sort of heart leaves, right? Really, really charming. And she walks you through this because this is a bit, this can be a bit tricky. Whenever you are thinking about, can I hook directly into wool using wool as my foundation, as the backing, no backing, using the piece of wool as the thing that you hook into, can I do that? You can do it, but like with everything, you should try first because wool is different from one piece to the next. The ones that'll work better for this are the ones that are more loosely woven. So not your door wool. That's not going to work for this. It's too tight. It's too, the milled fabrics are too sort of not felted, but heading toward felted, right? They're tighter. So you really want to use wools, typical plaids and checks and those kinds of wools that are wovens that are looser. Those are going to be the ones that you would want to consider for hooking directly into the backing. And sweaters, right? We've said this before. A sweater, stretching it over your frame and hooking directly into a sweater. When you're doing one of these sort of alternate, weirdly non-traditional backings using wool or a knit material as your backing, just check. Because at the end of the day, Dave knows this story, if you can hook into it and your loops stay, you're golden. You're good. You found something new. That is like one of the holy grail things, isn't it? Finding some new things for yourself, finding materials that work, being thrifty, right? That's what this craft is all about. But she does walk you through in this project because it is a little bit different and it isn't a guarantee that the wool you like is a kind of a wool that you can hook right into with your loops. She does walk you through it a little bit by saying, for example, wool is not as forgiving a base as linen. So some hooking experience is invaluable. With linen, you can remove a row or a loop without worrying about leaving evidence of an error. When hooking into wool, the hole is pretty permanent. So when you're hooking your stems, you have only one chance to get them right. If you remove the row for the stem and move it somewhere else, you will leave behind some visible holes. I suggest starting with the grassy area on this particular pattern to get the hang of this method. So just get some traction, get some mileage going on the grassy part, right? Just get a little practice in so that by the time you go to the more filigree parts on top, the stems and the leaves, you're not making the kinds of mistakes that would really require pulling loops out because as she's saying, the loops are going to be visible. So in that regard, it's different, but she's using red dot to transfer this project. But whether you use red dot or fiber tape or whatever your netting, whatever your method is, once your lines are on there, just be sure you like where the lines are and give it a little test drive and just go for it. I think the tip of doing the grass first, because it's the largest part, is a really good tip. But she turns this into, I'm going to show you again the same image, into a truly beautiful pillow. Very simple design. Really, really, really successful. Karen, sweater fabric is available by the yard. Oh, that's great. So Karen's saying sweater knit fabric is available by the yard. So for making a sweater too. And if anybody still has kicking around, you remember those knitting machines that used to be so popular? There were big ones and there were small ones. There were big ones for people who did like commercial work projects, right? But then there were smaller ones that you see at yard sales all the time that do a much smaller piece, but big enough to do little knitting machine if you can do that at speed and then stretch that over your frame or tack it with thumbtacks, and then you just go for it and do it, or buy it by the yard at a fabric store. There's so many possibilities. I like to, with some of the sweaters that I haven't been able to hook with, like the Fair Isles that the kids grew out of, I like to take the sleeves off and just get the body of them set. I haven't been able to do any extra projects this season, but I have a couple like Christmassy fair aisles that, like, for example, Jocelyn used to wear, and way too big for now, that I've taken apart so that I have the bodice. You know, I have like a couple sweater dresses. So I have the bodice, and in the future, when I hope that I have more time and sanity, I'll be able to do some hooking right into those fair aisles, because the fair aisles would never cut and hook anyway. Might as well use them for something really simple, like a white snowflake or something on top. But yeah, so many possibilities, right? This book is so good with different ideas. I love how simple it is. Simple is hard. I love how simple it is and how effective these all are. This is one of our other garden-inspired patterns. She's beautifully framed in like a nice old frame, this really effective sort of trowel and little hoe thing. I don't know if that's the right word when it's small. Spade, right? Spade or trowel. I'm not a gardener. That's something else I'd like to take up in the future. But she's got it so that finished piece is right flush with the surface of the frame, which gives it such a cool look. It looks like it was meant to be. She's got this other cool project. Let me show you the end. This is a really cool project. So this is a teacup design that she did, stacked teacups. And she's hooking it, and then she's stretching it over like a picture frame. We talk about this all the time. We need to talk about it more. See the frame, and then she just stretches it right over and uses the staple gun to secure it. Now, doesn't that look great? People did this in the 70s always. Just hooking part of something, or doing part macrame or part latch, and leaving part of the backing, particularly, burlap or straw matting, or, the kinds of matting that were popular in the 1970s, leaving a lot of it blank and just doing the image on part of it and stretching it over stretchers like this, like a picture frame that you just cut the canvas off of, putting it up on the wall, and it looks so good. Just like the flower, pillow that we just saw with the little, that was right onto the wall. This is another one where she leaves the backing out, right? She leaves the backing in view. It's just linen. So it's something to think about. I think we always get carried away. We often get carried away with how to do a background, how to do a big, wide open background. You don't necessarily have to do the background. Maybe the first question should be, do I even want a background? Maybe we should even back it up to that point where we first think, do I want a background? And then think, how am I going to fill the background? Because a non-background, just looking at the beautiful material that's there, is also super attractive. She's got great projects. This is a project for a large rug, like a floor size rug. I mean, that is really super, super, super simple, super effective. Crystal, waiting for your book next. Super effective. But yeah, just doing hooking and then finishing the rug. She's showing you how she does it. Same as always, whipping the corner. She has soft rounded corners. And then a beautiful floral rug. I'm not going to show you every project, because if you're interested, you should get the book and support her. She's doing great work here. Beautiful sort of whirlwind design with pomegranates and very simple leaves. Okay, I'll show you. And then I'll leave some at the end. I mean, isn't that lovely? It's so, so whimsical, so primitive, has a real storybook sort of quality to it. Illustrative kind of quality to it. Really good. Draft dodger, right? So like, remember we used to put like things with cats and stuff in front of the door to stop the draft. They were usually filled with balsam or something that smelled nice. They're back, right? These draft dodgers are back to put right up against the door. This one is really pretty that she's done. She's got very simple shape, like tweedy materials, and she's got the accent color as the mustardy gold, which goes real well with kind of oatmeal and the black and white tweed. Class. It's a class act, and she shows stuffing the thing and all that. And I wanted to show you one more. She's doing a few more designs here. Pillows, eyeglass cases. They are astonishingly good. Tote bag, absolutely beautiful, very usable. A couple of holiday projects, which are very cute. Small kind of ornament things that you might want to do, like these beautiful Easter eggs, right? And she's showing you how to finish them, just something that's an odd shape and not actually a rug. Really, really, really charming. So she's got Easter covered there, or springtime, right? And also Halloween. She does this nice project for Halloween too. Similar, right? Just sort of cut out little stuffed candy corns, but they're so effective. They are so effective in different sizes, multiples in different sizes. You could see them in a nice wooden bowl or an egg basket or something like that, lined up on the windowsill. So pretty. She does a lovely stocking, a very classy stocking. I'm leaving some things to the imagination. They are very good stockings. Oh, now here's a tea cozy. This one's a tea cozy. This is another one that's going to knock your socks off. It's going to knock your stockings off. Wow, these are really good ones. But I don't want to show you everything and spoil. Ooh, I didn't even see this project. Now this is nice. I'm going to show this one. This is nice as a gift. It's a caddy for a wine bottle. It's funny that that would appeal to me, right? It's a caddy like this. Now what a nice gift to give somebody. If you're bringing wine over or champagne anyway and you give them a nice caddy like this, isn't that nice? Because it would insulate really well too, wouldn't it? And the thing with these projects, she's doing so many things in this book that are not traditional flat projects, right? The candy corn, the eggs. She's done different things that are right into the backing, showing the backing. She's showing this as a caddy. She's showing a lot of things that are non-traditional objects to make and three-dimensional objects at that. And she's showing you how to finish them. And isn't that the thing? Because you know how to hook the rectangle, but maybe if you don't have a lot of experience with sewing, you're thinking, well, then how do you do the rest of it? What do you do with all those seams? Isn't everything fraying and coming undone? Well, that's what a book like this is great for, because she's going to show you how to walk through all those finishing parts to it. She's going to show you with photographs, so the chance of screwing up is zero, right? And then she shows, and if you're going, it's not zero, you don't know me. You don't know me either. I can screw anything up. But the more photos and the more illustrations you have, the better for sure, right? And yeah, I'm in the same boat. But Dandelion Footstool is just, this is beautiful. This has more of like a nighttime look to it. Beautiful, beautiful. And then she's got, oh, mug rugs, some small mug rugs. Very small, cute, simple projects. Oh, she does so good. I mean, this is really nice stuff, isn't it? Very different. Very simple, very different. Really good book. I'm surprised. Oh, there's one other thing I wanted to show you. How did I miss it? Oh, I don't think it was in the book, but let me, unless I cruised by it. I just want to show you on the back cover the way that she's finished. One other thing. So this we looked at. This is the stack of teacups on linen. And here's the Easter eggs, right? And is that an egg basket? That might, well, it's some kind of a little farmy basket. So cute. This is the one I was thinking of. I'm not sure if we looked at this design, but multiples, right? Repeats are great. Andy Warhol taught us that. Repeats are great. And look what she's done. She's finished them with that simple tucking underneath, right? That very simple, my favorite way to finish. And then she's attached them to a simple primitive old frame with chicken wire in it, right? She's sewn them onto the chicken wire. So they are permanently standing there, looking so primitive. A little bit of that industrial look, softened by these pretty soft flowers and these pretty soft colors. I mean, that is smart, isn't it? And again, the cover of the book, because those are some projects I didn't look at. There's a lot of projects in here. Oh, here's the wine caddy, isn't that? And then an eyeglass case. This is one of the mug rugs here. And this is one of the purse designs, right? The clasp. Really good. I think my first hook project will be a chair cushion. You know, that's not a bad one, because it feels good to make something that's utilitarian, doesn't it? That you know you're going to use all the time. And it's a nice, small, contained project that you know is not going to get away from you. And something like that, you know, in a weekend, you could really have that done. And if it's not perfect, and if the loops aren't the perfect height for you, for me, I never care if the loops are even or not. But if they're not the right height for you, well, you know, once you block it, hit it with some steam with the iron, and then you sit on it for a little while, they're going to be perfect. It's going to be perfect. A chair cushion is a great first project to start with for those reasons, and I'm sure 100 more reasons. But yeah, why not? Because you could do a whole bunch. You could go on a chair cushion bender and just have them for all the chairs around the house. And then when you feel like it, and you know when that time will be, then you start working on bigger projects or different projects or whatever. Or maybe you do chair cushions forever. I think as soon as I get into Martha is buttons. I think I'm going to be doing chair cushions for a long time because I want to make all of the button patterns you sent me, Martha, into chair cushions. And I want to hook all of them. So I can see myself doing chair cushions along with you for a while. And I'm looking forward to it because they are small and contained. Now, before I leave you, I wanted to ask you one more thing. I might not even be set up for it. It was kind of an afterthought. Yeah, I'm a ding dong. I'm not set up. But what I wanted to ask you was before we sign off on this. Oh, let me catch up on the comments. Oh, Sherry, good to see you. Very pretty, the cups of tea. This just really is a beautiful book. Really beautiful book. Katie, if you are watching, and I'll try to find you later and tag you, this is just a phenomenal book. This is really, I feel like, what we needed in rug hooking right now is a book like this that bridges the gap between traditional primitive patterns and contemporary patterns. Because I feel like when we think about traditional patterns, we think very folky, we think really sort of naive looking art. And I think making the correlation between contemporary and primitive is very important for us in terms of design, because I think if people start seeing this kind of work as rug hooking, they're going to be thinking less about scrolls and borders and big floral bouquets and stuff like that, which I love, but they're not for everybody. And I think rug hooking sometimes loses people who might otherwise be interested in starting up because they feel like just the tone of it, the mood of it, the style of it is dated. Well, this book really bridges that gap because it's showing you very easy, very primitive designs done in a way that nobody could say was dated. These are just, if anything, very 1920s, 1930s, stylized florals and fauna and gardening, right? Her love of gardening really comes through in the patterns in this book. So I feel like this book is the book that we needed right now as we launch into the new year. It's an absolutely beautiful book. I hope that you all love it. Hope you all want it. If it's your style, I hope that you get it. It's a beautiful book, and she deserves to get a lot of good feedback on doing such a nice project with that many beautiful, all of them are really top-notch, top design projects. She's giving you a lot of projects in one book, and that's exciting, isn't it? Me too, Martha. I'm looking forward to it. So I'm going to leave you on this note for today. For those of you who remember our series on Alice Butler, right? And I know almost everybody, oh, you know what? Holy mackerel, St. Anthony, thank you. The Alice Butler Book of Hooked Rugs. If you remember, we did a week of this and then a coffee time on this. Now, you know that I'm close to the family and that I will be doing all of these designs in ribbon candy hooking, right? I'm working with the family. We're going to put out all of Alice and Vic's designs. Remember, he passed away a couple of weeks ago. The son and the mother worked together to make these really extraordinary designs from the mid-century right through the 1980s. And again, Vic just passed away recently, but he knew that we were covering his book and that we were getting into his designs and that his designs were about to be publicized, published, and made available to everybody. If you haven't seen those episodes, please watch those episodes. They are fantastic. But I wanted to ask you, or at least plant the seed, is that I'm getting ready to do some talks and some work on Vic and Alice Butler on these designs, and in the new year, early in the new year, put out all of the designs in ribbon candy hooking. And I'm trying to get a feel for who out there would like to, particularly if you have this book already, and I know a lot of you are waiting to hear more about Alice Butler. If you have a favorite rug, right, in this book that you really love, I would like to put out a bunch of the patterns on linen or monk's cloth or whatever you like and send them out to the people who want them the most, who contact me first. I can't do the whole kit right now because I don't have the time, but I'd like to get some of the Alice Butler patterns out to people so that you can start hooking right after the new year. So you can start hooking them because I will need them soon, and I'll need all of them soon. So again, if you have this book, it'll help. If you already know you have a favorite in here, please send me an email and let me know, because as soon as I can, with Erin's help, I will get that pattern to you so you can start hooking it, because I would love to use a photograph of the piece that you finish. I will give you the pattern. I will give it to you, right? I want to give it to you, and you just use what you have to do it. It doesn't have to be the same colors that Alice and Vic used. But I want to get as many of them realized, finished, as hooked or punched pieces as soon as possible, because there's a lot of Alice and Vic Butler on the horizon, and there's not a lot of time for me on the horizon. So I could really use your help if you're looking for a next project, and that sounds exciting. I was thinking about making them kind of 2022 largest size kind of thing, so that there was enough space to really see the nuances of what they did. Their designs are phenomenal and unique. I'm sure you remember that. So I will not be on tomorrow, and the next day is New Year's Eve. I am sure that I will photo, video bomb you somehow with some piece of craziness from me and the kids over the next couple of days. Without a doubt, I will just be running ragged, but I will be thinking about you and all of the things that we have to look forward to after Christmas, in the new year. Are you going to remind me to do thumbs up?
Hit the bell so they're notified when you go live.
That's a good idea. Hit the bell. Jay's helping me out here. Hit the bell so that you are notified when we go live. I will be thinking about you and all of the projects that we have coming up. 2022 is our year. We are going to do so many great projects, things together. I'm going to be on top of the game. I'm going to finish up these large projects, and I'm going to get more time here, our time together, thinking of ideas, brainstorming, snowballing, having fun things to think about and work on together, doing our parallel working, and a lot more getting together in person this year, a lot more traveling this year. There's a lot to look forward to. This is our year, right? Hasn't been a great couple of years, but this is our year. Merry Christmas, Rita. It's great to see you. Merry Christmas, everybody who's celebrating. Happy holidays, happy everything. I hope that you are somewhere that you love with the people that you love. And yeah, I will be on and off, I'm sure, and hit that bell so you know when I am, and have a lovely holiday. Everybody, too. If you need me, I'm at ribboncandyhooking@gmail.com, or else I'm in our Facebook group at Rug Hooking and Punch Needle Club. Always there. P.S. If you have any latch hook, wool applique, felted rug pieces, like felted with a needle or miniature punch needle, please let me know. I'm still looking for those things.